Worship cymbal packs suck. Here's why and what you should do about it. The reason why worship cymbal packs suck is because of a few basic things that they get completely wrong. Size, thickness, and tone. Worship packs always have the wrong size cymbals for current worship music. Right now, the music you and I are playing in church use big, lush cymbals, not small, aggressive cymbals. 14-inch hats, 16 and 18-inch crashes, and 20, maybe 21-inch rides. Just too small. If you're buying cymbals for church, these are the sizes you should get. 15 or maybe 16-inch hats, 18 and 20-inch crash, 22 or bigger ride. These are the minimum sizes you should be having for worship music. Worship packs also seem to have the wrong weighted cymbals. Right now, worship drummers are using super big and super thin cymbals. That includes the ride. But in a worship pack, you tend to get like a medium weight at best, and that's just too thick for worship music. So what kind of cymbals should you get? You should get thin crashes and thin rides. And then for hi-hats, medium or thin will work. Now the tone in cymbal packs are completely wrong every single time. Well, maybe not in Sabian's most recent worship pack. They got a good tone, but boy, they made a lot of mistakes when they came out with that. When you're looking for cymbal sounds, you're gonna look for a darker and deeper tone. When it comes to cymbal packs, they are almost always like super bright and sharp cymbal sounds. And that's just not the sound we're going for. Churches also have a few problems with cymbals that I should probably address. At church, sometimes we think our drummer just plays way too loud. And that can be true, but a lot of the times it's just that you have loud cymbals. And when you find out you've got loud cymbals, you get sucked into those marketing ploys and go and buy those quieter cymbal packs. Well, kind of like the FRX cymbal pack from Sabian. They just aren't the right cymbals. When you're thinking of those Sabians, the FRX, the crashes work, but don't buy that cymbal pack. They just have the wrong sized everything, and the ride and hi-hats don't work, and quite frankly, the ride, well, it sounds bad. If you need quieter cymbals, you could get the crashes, but I would get the 18 and 19 rather than the 16 because, like we talked about earlier, the size, it is important to be a bit bigger. Now, they are quite bright, but the size helps with that. If you're really wanting to get something that at least fits the vibe of worship music and it needs to be a little bit quieter than normal cymbals, try to visit the route of drier cymbals. Drier cymbals do tend to be quieter cymbals. As long as they're dry and they're thin, a lot of the times they're quieter. Now drummers, we do have to learn about playing the dynamics we need in a church environment, and that does require us to try to play a little bit quieter. That takes maturity and that takes practice and skill. So practice your lower dynamics. Practice getting that energy that you get from a crazy fill that you might play super loud and super fast. Try to get that speed up while you're playing at a lower volume. That's gonna be a great skill for you to learn. These cymbals still should help you out a little bit. What kind of cymbals are good for worship? Well, you could go with Heartbeat. It's a brand that's like made for worship music. They supply so many popular worship drummers from like Bethel and Hillsong and Leland. So many guys play these cymbals, and so many churches use them too. Now, you could also go the route of Zildjian and Meinl, some of the darker toned Zildjians, and some of those Constantinoples and Ks. You can get some thinner ones and darker ones. There's even some drier ones that you can use for quieter settings. If you go to Meinl, they definitely have some dark, thin, huge tones, and they've got some dry stuff too, so check them out. That'll help you with volume. Now, my personal favorite are some Sabian's HHX Complex. They are my cymbals, the ones that I use. I just think they sound so good as worship cymbals. If you want to hear them in a worship context, click this link right here. Do I need, when I'm buying cymbals, a splash? Or do I even need 2 crashes? No, you do not need a splash or a china or any effect cymbals. Just leave those alone. You don't need them. Just leave them alone. Sometimes even a cymbal pack has these cymbals in them, and they're just not necessary for you. All you need really is a crash and a ride and a pair of hi-hats. You only need 1 crash. Now, if you're gonna get a crash, what you're gonna do is Like in before, when I had the example of all the sizes, you have the 18-inch crash and the 20-inch crash and then a 22 or bigger ride. If you're needing to save some money, buy the 20-inch crash and the 22-inch ride. That's all you need. Now, why would we want to drop the 18-inch crash? I picked 18 for a reason. If you buy the 20 and the 22-inch ride or bigger, when that ride is super thin, it works as a crash. And the sizes are so much more complementary between the two. They have a nice interval. So they just sound really good together. The other thing is, if you want to add a crash down the road, you can then add the 18, which is the cheaper of the two. So you save some money now, and you don't have to spend as much money later if you want to update those cymbals. If you're thinking about buying a worship cymbal pack and they don't meet the criteria that I've laid out for you here, stop! Because worship cymbal packs suck.